spent last night here in the Kaibab Plateau, which is Kaibab, I don't know. It's north of the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and I'm loving the autumnal leaves. Look how pretty that is. And we're at, I don't remember, 7,500 feet elevation, so it's pretty chilly this morning. It was nice and cool last night, which is my favorite for sleeping. But while I'm here, I just finished blocking yesterday the Descent Cowl, which is in honor of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her passing. And you could see that a whole lot of knitters and crocheters take solace in their yarn and their needles and hooks, as usual, in all times of crisis. Because like 18 of the top 20 patterns on Ravelry were RBG inspired or tributes. So this is, the blue is merino, cashmere, and baby alpaca webs something yarn. I don't remember which line it is, but it's from Webs. And the colorful yarn is from Round Mountain Fibers, which was hand dyed in Vermont in their ornithology collection. And it's a fingering weight that I doubled up to make the jewels and the RBG collar of this cowl. And that was a good project, so I'm happy to have that done. It feels really good around the neck. Even though when I took the picture of it, it was hot, and I was in Utah. I think I was right on the edge of Arizona. I may have been in Arizona, but it was not a place where you would want to wear something like this, but it's still, I can tell it would feel good on a chilly day. So that's where we are this morning. Let's see what today brings. This is one of a handful of lookouts along the north rim of the Grand Canyon, which has a very different, much more remote feel than the south rim. It's not nearly as many people. It's beautiful in its own way. It's the Colorado River going down there. I don't know how I have this place all to myself, but it feels pretty special. I've been at the Grand Canyon now for a few days, which is very nice. This is the South Rim, or part of it. And I worked earlier today, and then I parked myself right on the edge. I don't know if you can see. Right on the very edge. Just on a folding chair to do the last bit of end weaving in on your curtain, on the top part of your cafe curtain. I finished the bottom and added the crystals last night, so today was just finishing the weaving in of the parts that go around the outside of the motifs. And I think as of right now it's done, which feels pretty epic because it's been a little over a year since I started, and it has been everywhere with me, and feels pretty good to have it done. I think I'm very happy with it. But even more so, I was tickled to be sitting here weaving in ends, threading needles, and the breeze is blowing and the birds are cawking at me, and I realized that, you know, that book, The Quilt Maker's Gift, from when you guys were little, that I used to read all the time. It's my favorite children's book, and it shows the quilt maker sitting on the side of a mountain in her little tiny cabin, from which she produces quilts that she gives to people who have good hearts, and she manages to get the king, who's this greedy jerk basically, to give away his possessions before he can have one of her quilts, which he wants very much. And somewhere along the line, he discovers the joy of giving. And I remember a long time ago, I said that I hope someday I could become the quilt maker. And I remember my friend Sue Adams, who is now Sue Bell, responding with, "You will." And I have. And I'm thrilled to be just making things to give away and enjoying beautiful places and not having money be a part of it and just enjoying the gift of giving, which may sound a little cliche, but only to the people who haven't done it. So anyway, pretty special moment while I'm perched on the edge of this cliff here. My phone fell off my chair at one point and I was like, oh, I should probably put that in a pocket because if it goes down, I am not getting it back. So anyway, it's been a lovely day, part of a lovely week, and that's what's happening today. Yay. You know how I like my Keen sandals, but I don't like that lately their weak spot seems to be along this back edge on the inner ankle where the stitching comes undone and the layers separate and eventually they disintegrate. These shoes are only a year and a half old and I had the same problem with the last pair. I'll probably get in touch with their customer service and see if they would like to do anything about it, or at least know that I'm unhappy with it. But my previous pair I was in Mexico and had some leather sewn on a commercial machine by a shoemaker to kind of firm that up and make it last longer. This time on this pair I'm trying to do one of those stitch in time saves 9 where before it actually disintegrates I'm doing some stitching to firm it up and hope that'll last it a while and make it last a while longer, because goodness knows I don't like to shop. And I especially don't like to shop for things that I think have not had their full lifespan yet, and I don't buy things just for the fun of buying things. It's not how I operate. So it's part of the minimalism in the making, and also making do. Make do and mend. So it's not the prettiest stitching job, and I did get a puncture through my leather thimble. Little puncture wound in my fingertip, but it's worth it. If it makes my shoe last longer, no big deal. So I am otherwise about to leave. This is where I'm staying, I think probably for the whole week. I'm in a national forest. I think it's Kaibab National Forest, which I was also in outside of Flagstaff. But I think this is Kaibab National Forest, and you can see some people maybe on horses in the distance. And I've been here for, I don't know, a few nights. I'll be here for a few more nights, I think. There's neighbors that come in the evening, but everybody's very spread out. There's lots of campsites with fire pits and, informal, just rocks. But nobody's making fires right now because high fire danger. But good place to be, and I finished my stitching task for this morning to make my shoes last, and now I'm going to go off to the Grand Canyon and see what I can see. And get some work done there for the afternoon, because that's a nice place to have an office. Good morning. I wanted to say thank you, Leah, for the package you sent me. I've always loved when you made this embroidery, and I was hoping eventually you'd turn it into something very cool. I didn't expect it to be for me, but I'm happy that it is, so that's a great new project bag that I love with the reverse applique a la, what is her name? Alabama Channon is the brand that kind of brought that to fame again. It's also, there's a Mexican word for it. Molas, I think it's called. Anyway, I love it, and it's beautiful. And also, thank you for the small project bags. I love the sloth. And of course, I love the knitting fabric. It reminds me of those Dansko shoes that have this great pattern on them, the clogs. And I appreciate especially 2 new masks that you've made with a new style where there's comes up high on the nose and then there's a separate piece for the chin, and that way it kind of hangs on your nose but your mouth can move without the mask wobbling, so it stays in place. And then in this one I love especially because you did the sashiko stitching on it, which I just think is so pleasant. Something calming about it, but it's still pretty and decorative. So anyway, I'm about to start working. It's still pretty early in the morning, so there aren't very many people here, but this is my view outside my office window today. I've been at the Grand Canyon for 10 days maybe longer. I don't know, I've kind of lost track. It's still mind-boggling, so I've spent a lot of time just looking, which is what you do at the Grand Canyon. I've also been sociable. I met a friend and hanging out, and also I've had more work, so that means less stitching time, so I don't have too many projects to show you. Mostly I finished your curtain, and I started work on Brenda's smaller curtains, which are the same pattern with the same leftover motifs, but I'll show that again soon. So anyway, this is the view outside my office window. I'm gonna go to work. It's gonna get busy here. Right now it's not very many people, but this lookout will be buzzing within a short while. Just because it's still morning, there's not many people here yet. So anyway, on we go.